Hello and welcome to Lore of the Cards, the series that looks to reveal the secrets hidden in your Hearthstone deck. What's wrong, Blizzard? Don't I do enough for you? After an hour-long episode on Fandral, I thought I could take a break. It won't be a full episode today, just a few lore nuggets to clue you up on a new release recently announced by Blizzard, the upcoming new rogue hero, Maiev Shadowsong. If I did a full episode on Ms. Shadowsong, we'd likely be looking at one of those hour-long ones you all love, and I've already started reading for the next one. God, Blizzard. In the annals of Warcraft history, Maiev makes her first notable appearance during the War of the Ancients, likely looking very different to the armour-clad warrior most fans are familiar with. She began as a sister of Elune, worshipping the Night Elves moon goddess much like Tyrande Whisperwind. By the time of the war, she held a senior rank. Maiev was openly dismayed by the young Tyrande's appointment to High Priestess, but later would be named High Priestess herself in Tyrande's stead after Tyrande's capture by the Burning Legion. This brought her into close contact with her brother Jarod, who would ably rise to the occasion during the final battles of the war and help command the mortal armies of Azeroth. Maiev begrudgingly gave up the office of High Priestess when Tyrande was freed. At the end of the war, Azeroth was struck by the Sundering that split the single landmass into today's continents. Maiev was enraged to hear that Illidan had attacked and injured her brother, beginning a hatred that would burn for millennia. Illidan had looked to create a new Well of Eternity, the magical pool which had initially drawn the Burning Legion to Azeroth, but Jarod discovered him. Eager to kill Illidan for his crime, Maiev's hand was stayed by Tyrande, and Illidan's punishment was dealt out instead by his brother Malfurion. He would be imprisoned beneath Azeroth for all time. Not fully satisfied with what she saw as Malfurion's merciful judgment on her brother's attacker, Maiev volunteered to guard Illidan. During the War of the Ancients, Illidan had sided with the Legion. He said to gain enough power to defeat them, which Maiev believed was a lie. Malfurion accepted Maiev's offer and allowed her to take several volunteers from the Sisterhood of Elune with her. These guards became known as the Watchers, and Maiev was given the rank of Warden. When Jarod disappeared one night, Maiev was saddened he had not spoken to her before he left. But as millennia passed, the Watchers became her family. Maiev would make her first appearance in the Warcraft games in Warcraft 3's expansion, The Frozen Throne. As time passed, the Watcher's duties did not restrict themselves simply to watching Illidan. They would seek out and bring justice upon other criminals. While Maiev was on such a mission, Illidan was released from his prison by Tyrande to help combat the Burning Legion's second invasion of Azeroth. Upon hearing of Illidan's release, the murder of her kin that guarded him, and of Illidan's later transformation after consuming the power of the Skull of Gul'Dan, Maiev was furious. She resolved to track Illidan down and either return him to his cell or end him. As she tracked the part Night Elf part Demon, she discovered Illidan had new servants, the Naga, which Maiev would later learn also used to be Night Elves. Eventually, she tracked Illidan to the tomb of Sargeras upon the Broken Isles, cornering him. Illidan did not fear her though, as he had the powerful Eye of Sargeras in his possession, which he used to collapse the temple. Maiev was able to escape, but many Watchers perished in the temple, including her second, Naisha. Fearing what Illidan may plan next, Maiev sent a runner to inform Malfurion of his brother's actions. Malfurion arrived in time to save the majority of the Watchers. To Maiev's displeasure, he brought Tyrande along with him, who Maiev believed should be imprisoned for what she had done, though Illidan's release did help with the Legion's defeat. Malfurion left to commune with the forest to find out what Illidan planned, while Maiev returned to hunting him, Tyrande in tow. On their hunt, they encountered Kael'thas Sunstrider and what little of his people had survived after the undead scourge charged through the high elven capital of Silvermoon. Upon finding out what Maiev and Tyrande were doing, Kael mused that Illidan's presence may be why the undead surrounding the mage city of Dalaran had become agitated. Tyrande offered to help escort Kael'thas and his caravan of blood elves, renamed to honour their fallen brethren. This was much to Maiev's distaste, as she wanted to immediately return to hunting Illidan. Kael'thas thanked Tyrande and promised to aid in Illidan's capture, but They were ambushed, and in a last stand upon a bridge to allow her fellows to escape, the bridge buckled under Tyrande's weight, sweeping her downstream. Chaol thus wished to aid Tyrande, but Maiev was insistent they continue the hunt for Illidan, as time was running short. Outside the ruins of Dalaran, they met with Malfurion, disturbed by Tyrande's disappearance. Maiev lied, telling Malfurion she had been torn apart by the undead to make sure the druid did not depart to save his love. Illidan was eventually thwarted while using the Eye of Sargeras in an attempt to sink the continent of Northrend, where the Lich King, leader of the Scourge, resided. Malfurion raged at his brother, as he had given no thought to the possible consequences, and his actions had seen the death of Tyrande. Chaol thus spoke up and said this wasn't the truth. His fury now directed at Maiev, Malfurion entangled her in roots, leaving her while he and Illidan went to save Tyrande. Successful in their quest, Illidan was allowed to go free, but as he left through a portal, Maiev and her watchers followed straight after him, ending up in the world of Outland. Unable to contend with Maiev's forces alone, Illidan was captured. Illidan was quite promptly freed with the assistance of his Naga forces and the Blood Elves, whom Lady Varsh had been able to win over to Illidan's side by aiding Chaol thus. Illidan gained new allies in Akama and his broken Draenei, and together they conquered Magtheridon, who ruled the world of Outland. As time passed, however, Akama feared he had helped remove one tyrannical leader, only to put another in his place. Akama contacted Maiev, and as a double agent aided her as much as he could to overthrow Illidan. Maiev gathered new recruits, trained them and performed a series of hit-and-run attacks on Illidan's forces, slowly wearing them down. That was until Akama's duplicity was discovered. Illidan bound a portion of the broken soul to his will, and through this forced Akama to trick Maiev. Her forces were led into a trap, and all but her was slaughtered. She languished in prison, but part of Akama still resisted Illidan, biding his time to attack. That time came as heroes of Azeroth stormed Illidan's Black Temple. Maiev was present for the final confrontation, aiding the heroes in bringing down the man she had guarded for his crimes for over 10,000 years. As Illidan lay dying, he mocked Maiev. "You have won, Maiev, but the Huntress is nothing without the hunt. You are nothing without me." Stunned, Maiev realised Illidan was right. Maiev encased Illidan's body, trapping what remained of his soul to languish within. She also captured the Illidari, demon hunters loyal to Illidan, and took them to the Vault of the Wardens, a massive prison upon the Broken Isles. Maiev was allowed to return to Night Elven society despite her betrayal to Malfurion, and was entrusted with training a new generation of Watchers. Around this time, Jarod also returned. Maiev, learning his absence, had been a self-imposed exile. She resented him for this, as she believed he had a duty toward his people. But this cold demeanour toward her brother would soften over time. Perhaps due to her obsessive hunt for Illidan or her long imprisonment, Maiev would slowly be taken by madness when Malfurion allowed the Highborn and Warden to live in Darnassus. The Highborn had been responsible for helping the Legion to Azeroth to begin the War of the Ancients, and Maiev was far from ready to forgive. Secretly, she would assassinate high-ranking members of the Highborn, intending to bring justice to these evildoers, and captured Malfurion for him to suffer a slow death for his arrogance. It was Jarod that freed Malfurion and bested Maiev in combat, but couldn't bring himself to kill his own sister, allowing her to escape. She vanished into the night, vowing that she would restore the greatness of the Night Elves. Maiev's most recent appearance has been in the latest WoW expansion, Legion. In their third largest invasion yet upon Azeroth, the Burning Legion assaulted the Vault of the Wardens, looking to capture Illidan's body. Maiev her sanity appearing to be somewhat restored, release the Illidari out of desperation. But the forces of the Legion and duplicity within the ranks of the Warden see Illidan's body taken. Maiev looks to chase but gets captured and locked within Blackrook Hold. Maiev is later freed by her brother, who suspects her madness may have been forced upon her by an outside influence. And an adventurer. Maiev is surprised that her brother rescued her and informs him that Gul'Dan, one from an alternate reality that isn't dead, has arisen the spirit of the Lord of Blackrook Hold, Kurtalos Ravencrest, to protect the secrets within. As further patches are released for Legion and the story is expanded, no doubt we will learn more about Maiev. I see your cunning advertising strategy, Blizz. Well, I won't be a part of it. Damn. So why have Maiev as a new rogue hero? She doesn't look all that roguey, with all that clanking armour rattling in the silence and shining in the shadows. Well, as we've seen in this lore summary, she is capable of stealthy assassination and cunning. In Warcraft 3, one of her abilities was Fan of Knives, a move later adopted by the rogue class in WoW and made into a rogue card in Hearthstone. Maiev is also known to use poison during combat. Shadow Strike damaged enemies and did damage over time. It too was added to Hearthstone as a rogue ability. Maiev also uses her wits and confusion to fight her enemies rather than just relying on brawn, blinking around the battlefield, being in one place one moment and behind her foe another. So while Maiev may not look the part, her roguish actions and abilities speak for themselves. I really hope you enjoyed this very brief summary of Maiev's lore, and trust me, it is very brief. If you want to find out more detail, check out Noble's 2-part series on her, or just keep bugging me in the comments section until I give in. If you've enjoyed, please like, share and subscribe. It really does help a relatively small channel like ours out, and if it doesn't, it'll at least bring a smile to my dirty little ginger face. Of course, if you dislike, I'll come round your house and look to claim your soul to feed the endless vacuum that sits in place of mine. If you enjoyed the art, I've done my best to credit the artists in the description. To keep up to date with all our projects, follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Until next time, happy Hearthstoning.